Middle East reporter Abubakr al-Shamahi is with me now in the studio for some additional comment on what's happening in Yemen. We've heard it described as the forgotten war, when it actually sounds as dire as any conflict could be. How desperately do Yemenis need UN intervention right now?
Well, this is the world's largest humanitarian disaster right now. You're talking about, out of a population of 26 million people, at least 19 million who are in urgent need of assistance. You've got 7 million who are starving. You've got a child dying every 10 minutes because of, or as a result of, preventable diseases. This is a disastrous situation. Now, the problem the UN faces is that obviously the best way to stop this war is to stop the killing, is to stop the war. But the UN's proven incapable of being able to do that. It's had peace talks after peace talks in Switzerland and various other places where the main positive to come out of them was just getting the two sides onto the same table. So in terms of what it needs to do now, it needs to A, provide aid, ensure that countries provide aid, and B, make sure that that aid then is able to get to those in need in the country, which is easier said than done.
Walk us through the causes here. What and whom is to blame for civilian suffering at this point? Well,
Yemen was already the Middle East's poorest country, so this is a problem that predates this war. And when you're looking at the reasons, this is a man-made disaster right now. We're not talking about a famine because of climate reasons or ecological reasons. We're talking about something that's, decades of mismanagement, decades of corruption that led to Yemen being in the position it was in. And Yemen shouldn't be a poor country when you're looking at the resources the country has. And now, because of the conflict, obviously, we used to talk about Yemen being on the edge of the cliff. Yemen's fallen completely off that edge now. The war has exacerbated the problems. You've got the Saudis on one side, obviously, imposing this partial blockade on ports like Hodeidah, and then not being able to get supplies around the country. But then on the other side, you've got to remember as well that this is a propaganda war as much as it is a conflict. And the Houthis have also played their part in this conflict. They've been able to restrict supplies on Taiz, the biggest city in the country. And when you look at the latest data, this is something that is seen in both provinces controlled by the rebels as well as provinces controlled by the government. It's on all sides here.
Why does this war get so much less attention than Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan?
Well, I think Syria and Iraq specifically, they obviously are very close to Europe. This is on Europe's borders, obviously on the border with Turkey as well. And just the presence of groups like Daesh, for example, really bring the conflicts in those countries to the public eye in the West. Yemen is further away. Yemen's complicated as well. It's hard at times to really understand who is right and wrong in this conflict and why exactly this country is in the position it is in. And also, just because it is such a poor country predating this conflict, it's almost like people think that, well, they were in that situation anyway. And so it's only a mere continuation of the problems that they had before anyway.
Okay. Abubakr, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for coming in.